What am I supposed to do now?
Get up and go on with your life. It's all right to sit around, be depressed for a minute, cry about it, do whatever you have to, but don't stay there too long. Get up and go on with your life. So you know what this is what I learned in all these years on this earth. If somebody want to walk out of your life, let them go.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video of Transform and Talk with me, Tanisha. Today we will be talking about life after divorce. First and foremost, I want you to know that there is life after divorce. Had to put that out there because it really is. And look, depending on how you heal, you can create a fantastic life, a life that was better than the one that you had prior to your divorce. Your life is not over, so don't let your mind trick you into believing that, or don't let any outsider make you believe that. This chapter of your life has just begun, okay? Your story is still being written for new beginnings and experiences. However, I want you to understand that it will take time. Your primary goal should be to take things one day at a time, one step at a time. Do not rush the process of healing, of being totally free and delivered from everything that you experienced from your divorce. All of the emotions that come with starting over. Be patient with yourself. Take your time. And look, some people they want to hurry things up, and I understand because we want stuff to be finalized. We be over it. But listen, after a divorce, which is similar to death, you have to know that you must be patient with yourself. You're embarking on a new journey. You're starting over. You're becoming someone new. You're entering into a new space that you have never been before. And you need to really take the time out to go through the process. So let's get into things to consider after your divorce, or even if you're going through a divorce. Now, there are many, but I only chose 3 to talk about. So let's get into it. The first one is life goes on, and you're going to have to learn how to adapt to change. Time will not stop just because you got or are going through a divorce. Divorce can involve a whole lot of changes, such as moving, financial shifts, custody of children being shared, split properties. You go from a household of 2 to a household of 1. And so this can be tough, but you must reset your mind for your new normal. As you go through the changes, remember you are being molded into a new person, and you are gaining strength along the way. The old you, or the way of living that you had prior to your divorce, is over. It's gone, never to return. Real quick, let me let y'all know something. When I went through my divorce, I had a life goes on attitude. I really did. But I went about it all wrong. My mentality was life goes on. I'm going to live my life. I'm about to get out here. And I literally started living my life, y'all, meaning I was out there having fun. I was so focused on just moving on, but I neglected and I was ignoring working internally on myself and healing. I really felt like I set myself back, y'all, because I really suppressed my emotions, and I took a long time to really face the healing that I needed. I was too busy out here entertaining other guys. And like I said, I was having fun. I was literally having the time of my life until I wasn't, which leads me to point number 2. So, point number 2, you are going to have to face and deal with your emotions. While going through this, I strongly don't recommend dating anyone. I am telling y'all, I did it. So, just from my experience, I don't recommend it. The person that you begin to date or entertain can be or will be a temporary distraction from what you really need to work on. Or they'll become a dumping ground for your emotional baggage, and they do not deserve that. They had nothing to do with your ex and all of those things that you experienced and went through with them. So, you'll meet someone new. Please understand that. Know that life is not over. You are going to meet somebody new, and you're going to get out there and date, may even get married again. But first, heal. Please heal first. After divorce, you may experience a range of emotions like anger, disappointment, fear, sadness, loneliness. Shoot, some people experience relief, indifference. It all depends on the person and the conditions of your heart and what your circumstances were. The focus, regardless of how you feel, though, should be to become whole again. And listen, make a mental note that feelings change over time. You may feel like this today, but I'm telling you, in 30 days, in 90 days, in a year, you will feel differently if you apply the work that's necessary for you to heal. Okay. Now, if you stay and lay in those emotions and don't do anything about it, please don't expect any change. Just expect yourself to be lying in those emotions and just going through this cycle. And until you're ready to break it, you will experience no change. You might even become a bitter person, a mean person, and you do not want that. I do not desire that for you. Okay. So, again, make a mental note that feelings do change. You will not always be on an emotional roller coaster. Accept your emotions, process them, talk to a therapist if you need to, build a good support team that you can talk to that can help you work through whatever it is that you're going through. This is something that I had to learn. Like, it took me a minute to get this, but I'm telling you, once I got it, I was just so thankful, because you become free, you become lighter. So again, take that time out to really face and deal with your emotions. Okay, number 3, don't forget to make time for self-care. Self-care is so essential. The hustle and the bustle of life goes on, and you'll experience different emotions, but don't stop taking care of you. That clock is going to keep on ticking. Regardless of what we're going through, that clock keeps ticking. Time waits for no one. Life goes on. The hustle and bustle goes on. You're still going to have to take care of your responsibilities and just handle all of your affairs when it comes to life. And that can be overwhelming. So we have to take that time out to be still and to take care of us, because you cannot be out here running on empty. Okay. You may go through a process. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go through a process where you have to reintroduce yourself to you. You're going to have to learn who you are all over again, because you're changing, you're growing, you're turning into someone else. You may have been used to doing things with your spouse, and now it's just you. So who is this new person? What do they look like? What are their interests? How can they build themselves up? How do they want to present themselves to the world? What is their style today? This is so important. Your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health should be a top priority. The world needs you healthy in all areas of your life. So take time out to eat right, exercise, get enough rest, try new things, discover the possibilities. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Go on solo dates, take solo trips, take those solo walks in the park. I mean, just simply take time to take care of you. Whatever that looks like for you, go for it. You're transforming into someone new. So handle yourself with care, okay? You got this. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. Take your time. It's all going to work out in your favor. Okay, we're going to move further into this video. Before I go, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you would like. And as always, prayers and blessings.
Trying to tell my brain that I have to unlove a person as my husband.
That's tough.
Was like mentally challenging. And when I say, and this time I didn't realize I was a bit of an extremist. Like, until I started talking to other women, I'm like, I never liked other men pictures, like outside of a friend group. I never liked other men pictures on social media. I never even went on their pages like that. I wasn't even friends with other men unless they were like business friends of that nature. Nobody that would ever be like, oh, they like me, or I feel like they like me. So I always kept my eyes tunnel vision when it came to being in a relationship and with my husband. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was so hard for me, because even in the midst of going through that, I was still tunnel vision, because that was all I knew for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, he was all I really known for all that time. So the transition in that, you know, was a bit much by itself. Was learning that this is not your person.
So it's been 1 year since my divorce, and here's what I've learned in my year of healing. So you may be faced with thoughts like, I wonder if we'll come back together later on in life. Maybe he was really my soulmate, was the right person, wrong timing, things like that. And that can really eat you up. That can really cause you to want to compromise certain things in your now instead of moving forward and moving on. But I want to tell you that that is not within your control, and it's really not your business. If that man comes back, then great, you know, cool. If he comes back in better condition, if he doesn't, great, cool. But that's not your business. And you have to learn to shut that down in your mind as soon as it comes and tries to start getting you to rethink things. Make sure that you are casting those thoughts down, because it's really not your business and you can't control it. More than anything, something I've learned, even when it came to my marriage, because my divorce wasn't on my behalf. He wanted the divorce and I let him have it. So you have to understand, you can't control everything. You can't control another person, and you can't control fate in a sense. If you two are supposed to end up together, you will. And beautiful. If not, then you won't, but you'll end up with something much better, whether it's him in a new condition or it's a new man in great condition. You are going to be fine. Don't battle with yourself about the woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say.
The hardest part about divorce is you are grieving not only the life you thought you were going to have, you are grieving this situation.
All of it.
Divorce is like, is death. You have to grieve it, but you also have to live. There's no ending to this, while still making sure that I don't uproot my children, you know, trying to make sure that they have stability and grounding, and it has to come from me, but I can't give them that if I'm not grounded in my word, if I'm not grounded in my faith, if I'm not stable in my soul and my mind. The fact that I'm not in jail or girl, what? The fact that I'm not in jail or in a psych ward because of what I've dealt with in the last 3 years, that's all glory to God. And I wish I was being funny. The fact that I'm able to sit here and build the empire that I've built and done all the work that I've done, that is all God. Because I should have lost my darn
everything. Everything.
And what's crazy is I did. I lost everything.
I got married and going through a divorce all before the age of 30. Left my beautiful home and life and moved back to Florida and back here with my parents. And I honestly didn't know what the hell I was doing. I thought I was making the worst decision ever and failing my kids. That they were gonna look back and think that I was the worst mom ever. But turns out they're actually pretty happy and normal and loving life, and me, and making new friends and living life. It was literally just me having to get out of my own head and figuring out myself all over again. Literally simple things like, what do I like to wear? How do I think? And what makes me happy? And finding joy in literally the smallest things ever. Finding myself all over again. Which sounds easy, but it's actually not. I decided to dive back into my family because I was always gone. I never got to experience every celebration and get together, or simply just being around them. I also decided to rekindle some old friendships and create some new ones. And just laugh and have a good fucking time. But don't get it twisted. I'm still crying probably once a week. And confused and scared and wondering what the fuck I did. But at the end of the day, I'm realizing that life is still going to push on. And I got this shit. And we're starting completely over. And we're about to have a blast.
Everybody around you will encourage you to leave a toxic relationship, which you should.
But nobody prepares you for how hard it's going to be once you do that. I've been talking shit all day. It's time to talk about some real shit. Depression after divorce. Coming from somebody who was with their partner for 18 years before their divorce, let me give you the good and the bad. I had no idea what it was like to even live alone because every place that I ever had was always with my spouse. So I had no idea how to even brace myself for the transition that was coming. Now keep in mind, I was the one that wanted and initiated the divorce. This is what I wanted to do, but once I did it and fully moved out of the house, I was so sad and so depressed and in such a dark place. And then because I'm a private person, I suffered in silence. I was so used to doing everything with my spouse, like grocery shopping, appointments, out to eat, everything. And when it all came to an abrupt stop, it was like, oh shit. And getting used to that part of it was hard as fuck. In the beginning, you're going to feel really lonely and really sad and really depressed. And you're going to feel like everything just failed. You're going to be questioning if you made the right move. But when I tell you it's during that part of life that you find your strength, you're going to have to get in tune with yourself and stick to it. Because once you get out of that dark place and you climb over that mountain, you are a whole new person. Now, let me tell you a couple things that you can do during this phase to help you out. Number one, you're going to have to put yourself on a whole new routine. Things are different, so step out of that box and adjust to it. Do not lay in that bed and soak in that depression because it will eat you alive. Take this time to really pour into yourself. And I really mean that because at this point of things, you're going to need you. So shit that you may not have been used to, journaling, reading books, getting up, going for a walk, force yourself to do it. Trust me. You're gonna have days where you don't want to. You just want to lay there and you just want to just feel the heartbreak and you got to do it. You have to do it.
Sis, let's talk about the part of healing after divorce that nobody prepares you for. Divorce is more than just the paperwork. It's not just about the grief. It's not even about the loneliness. It's about the identity shift. The identity shift that nobody tells you about. When you're no longer somebody's wife, when the title changes, but the habits and emotions are still catching up, you start asking yourself, who am I? And that is the part that nobody really talks about. So for a while, you might still dress like her, that version of her. The version of you who was surviving in the marriage. The version of you who dimmed your light to keep the peace. The one who forgot what she liked. What she liked outside of being his wife. You stop showing up as your most vibrant self, not because you're broken, but because you're rediscovering who you are. And in that rediscovery process, that is the most sacred part of the processes. So you are reintroducing yourself to yourself. You're learning how to get dressed again, not just physically, but emotionally. You're learning how to take up space again, to speak up again, to feel good about you again without guilt. And that's a process that deserves to be not rushed through, a process that deserves it's the process, but it's one that you don't have to go through alone. So if you're walking through this, and if you're just existing right now and trying to find your footing again, let me remind you that you are not behind, that you are not alone, that you are worthy, and you are simply being refined. And the woman you're becoming, she's worth showing up.
So listen, choosing to divorce was one of the hardest decisions of my life. Not because it was something I wasn't sure if I should do, but because the person I was married to was all that I knew. I mean, we had been together for 17 years. I mean, talk about soul ties. This person that I love so much put me through some of the worst pain I had ever felt in my life over and over again. Then one day, I just realized that I wasn't treating myself any better by allowing that kind of behavior or by allowing someone to just treat me the way I was being treated. The relationship was taking a huge blow to my self-esteem, my mental, and my spirit. More than anything, as much as I wanted my kids to grow up in a two-parent household, I also wanted my children to have a healthy example of how to treat someone that you love, set boundaries, respect others, and most of all, to love themselves. That vision for my kids is what got me through a tough time. And trust me, it was dark. I saw no light at the end of that tunnel for a long time. Now, I just look back and regret nothing and thank God for bringing me through everything.
You know, life's pretty crazy. One minute, you're married with a family, cooking dinner together, watching a movie, and then the next minute you're on dating apps. After my divorce, I couldn't help but ponder what in the world went wrong. So I spent a lot of time reflecting on what I'll do differently the next go around. And this is what I came up with. Let's get it. Number one, do not ignore the small things in your marriage. Because the truth is, small things, they always turn into big things unless you handle it immediately. Even if you can't come to an agreement, come to a compromise, meet each other in the middle. Number two, and very important, I will enjoy their family through the good and the bad. Because I understand now that when you fall in love with somebody, their family comes with them too. Number three, I will accept more kisses and hugs. So many times I would come into the house and I'd be so stressed out at work and life. She would try to kiss me and hug me and I just wouldn't want anything to do with her. But I know now it's these small acts within a marriage that make a marriage great. Bonus, do not ever let the romance die in your marriage. I know I won't again, and that's facts.
I need help. Like, I don't get it. I'm stuck. Like, man, once you've been a wife, it is damn near impossible to morph back into a girlfriend. Baby, I'm a wife. When I go in at 100. I don't know how to pretend like I like you a little bit when I know I like you a lot. You know, and a lot of people be like, oh, that's too aggressive to tell a guy this. Why? Why I'm acting like I don't like you when I know I do? And hell, I want to know that you like me at the same capacity. Because if you don't, what we here for? What we doing? We just wasting each other time. Y'all, I'm not that person. I can't pretend like, oh, I only like him a little bit. Or why are we pretending at all? We three? Like, I'm trying to figure out if you for me and I'm for you. Because if not, can you please move over? Because I want him right there, the one that's for me, who gonna be my forever person. And if that ain't you, and you don't want to participate in the process of me finding out if that's you, then you wasting my time. You wasting your time. Y'all, I can't get it. This ain't working for me. Like, I'm a wife. I ain't supposed to be nobody girlfriend.
You know, it's a fucking trip. Life after divorce in your 50s. Most days I'm like, what am I even fucking doing? I was a stay-at-home mom and had no job for most of my married life, raised my children, homeschooled them. Now I'm an empty nester and divorced. Yeah, what am I doing?
After divorce, what nobody tells you. Well, I don't want to say what nobody tells you. I don't think it really gets talked about like what we go through after divorce. In January, it'd be 6 years since my ex-husband and I have been separated. We got a divorce like a year later. So it's been 6 years since I've been single. Well, not divorced. That first year is freedom. You feel like you're yourself again. You're not just a wife. A lot of us who have been wives, especially being young and not knowing yourself, you are engulfed in being a wife. And if you got kids, a mom, like your identity is like completely gone. Unless you already had that self-awareness and stuff before. But I was young and married. You turn into who you're meant to be that first year. You have a lot of freedom. You got a lot of dating. It's a little fun. I was outside. Well, I wasn't outside, but I was outside. Like I literally found myself again. I got to the my true self. And then as it goes on or whatever, I don't care what nobody say. People like companionship. After that, and we broke up 2019, 2020, I was in a relationship. And that first relationship, I don't say it was a rebound because I kind of had a rebound after I had a casual rebound. And then I had an actual boyfriend. And that boyfriend was literally everything that my ex-husband wasn't. It was like my real first boyfriend as a adult. You know what I'm saying? Because me and my ex-husband got married when I was like 22. And it was fun. And it was drama. And then one day I woke up and was like, Michelle, what the fuck are you doing? You're not 20. This is fun, but you want something real. You want something lasting and whatever the case may be. So you figure out what you want and what you don't want. Even after that divorce, even when things start settling is what I should say. Things had start to settle. And it was like, this is not what I want my life to look like. And this is not the person I want to be with. And then you heal from that and you move on or whatever from the quote unquote rebound. And you start dating with intention. And when I say when you're dating with intention, you're weeding out so many people. It's so hard to like somebody for real because you can feel people authenticity because you have so much self-awareness. Your hard no's are literally your hard no. Like, you ain't backing off of that because you've been divorced. You've been down this road before thinking things were going to change. You're asking yourself like big questions like, if this never changes, would I be able to live like this? If it's a no, you ready to scurry. You go on about your business. Like, it is a lot of maturity that comes with after being divorced. And also, I don't feel like I'm lonely. I feel like I'm content, but I want companionship. Your peace means everything after a divorce. Your peace means everything. Even no matter how much companionship you want from the opposite sex or a significant other or whatever, if the right person hasn't came along, no, I'm not settling. Like, I did that already.
5 things that saved my life during my divorce. So if I didn't have these things in my life while I was going through my divorce, I'm honestly not even sure where I would be today because it was such an unexpected experience in my life, as I'm sure it was for many of us. And I just know that I need to share these just to help anyone else on their journey. So the first thing is that I had to literally distract myself and find productive ways to do so. And one of the main ways I did that was by working out. Literally, y'all, having a consistent workout routine saved me tremendously because not only did it help me physically as far as my appearance, but it did and does so much for my mental health. For one, it literally allowed me to distract myself from any issues that I was having, and it's also a way to implement self-care for at least an hour per day. And I also figured out what type of workouts worked for me. So in case you're not someone who's a gym girly, there's literally so many avenues that you can try. You can do Pilates, you can do bar, you can do hiking, you can play tennis. Not to mention, it's gonna pump your endorphins, which are your feel-good neurotransmitters. And anything that encourages you to feel good is exactly what you need in this transition of your life. Now, my second tip is implementing and prioritizing your self-care. During this journey and phase that I went on, taking care of me was my priority, and I had to make myself a priority because I was a people pleaser, and many of us are reformed people pleasers, so we're used to putting so many other people first. So I'm not gonna lie, it was very difficult for me to actually put myself first and not feel guilty for doing so. This is now the time for you to be unapologetic in your self-care and in putting yourself first. And self-care comes in many different ways. Actually having a skincare routine, doing your makeup one day, actually going to therapy, or even taking yourself out to a movie date. I did so many solo movie dates and even dinner dates. These are things that make you step out of your comfort zone, but they improve who you are as a woman overall. Now, my next tip is to journal. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was not a big journaler, so I do understand people who may say journaling is not for them. But one thing that helped me heavily was my 5-minute journal because it actually gives you prompts in the inside. So you write what you're grateful for, what will make today great. You write a daily affirmation. Then at the end of the day, you come back and you write your highlights of the day and what did you learn today. And there's also quotes in each one. No way, this is the quote for today. Are you kidding? It says, out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. How fitting. That literally speaks to me because if I'm being honest, I was so scared to actually share and be vulnerable with you guys on this platform. So Wow. And with that, I also have to highlight therapy. My next tip will be to stay busy. You have to keep yourself focused and entertained, because whenever you have too much downtime or alone time is when everything negative begins. You start to overthink, you start to self-doubt. So it's so important for you to stay busy, and I promise you the healing will progress. And my last tip would be to read and rely on God. He will not give you a battle that you cannot fight. And you have to trust that God put you in this position for a reason.
Your life after divorce is only going to ever be as good as you say it is. If you think your kids are going to hate you because of the decision that you made, they will hate you. If you think that you're broken because that marriage just tore you to pieces and you can never get back up again, you will remain broken. If you think nobody will ever love you or want you because you have kids, guess what? It ain't going to happen for you. Not until you choose to have some freaking faith in yourself. I don't care what that man did to you. I don't care what he didn't give to you. If you know that you deserve better, say that. Stop talking about all the things this person did, all the things that you didn't get, because all you're doing is training your mind to believe that that is all you're worth, and it's not true. You can have whatever life you want after a divorce, but it starts with you believing in it in the first place. You've given up, and it's so unfortunate because you have so much to offer. And you are such a catch, and you don't even realize it. You've allowed that experience to destroy you. And if we can be honest, he ain't worth that. But I can't convince you of that. You can dive into your work all you want to. You can buy the biggest house for your kids. You can start a million businesses, but you will not be happy until you let go.
So, I wanted to document a little bit of my night tonight. So I went out on a date tonight, and then it got done a little early, and I literally went in my car, got in my car, and then I was like, you know what, the night is not over, and something was telling me in my heart and soul, get in your, go back into there, go back in by yourself and sit at the bar and learn to be with yourself. And I did just that tonight. And I sat at the bar all by myself for the first time in almost 40 years. And it was so it was hard. So part 2, it was not easy, very emotional, but I did it and I enjoyed myself. Just being with me, myself, and I, and my emotions, my feelings, all of the things. I'm single for the first time in my adult life, and it's so freeing but scary and humbling, and I feel great, but sometimes I'm depressed and I'm sad and I hate this and I'm uncomfortable and lonely. But at the same time, on the other side, there's joy and happiness and excitement, and you never know what life is going to bring you. So I just wanted to encourage you guys to get to know yourself.
Life after divorce from a man's perspective. I had a guy inbox me and ask me what's life been like for me after divorce, and I assume that he's going through a divorce currently and is trying to mentally prepare himself. Hopefully he sees this video. I think he will. I think people forget that men also have emotions and we also go through things mentally. We may not vocalize them or say them out loud majority of the time, but we also hurt. We also feel pain and regret as well. I think that society has made it kind of taboo for a man to say, I'm hurting or I feel a certain way. And I'm very emotionally intelligent, so my emotions were all over the place at the time, and it took a while for me to to get back to myself, honestly. For me, it was very eye-opening, and it took me a while to come to the realization that I was by myself and she was no longer going to be here. We were together 5 years, so I was used to having her presence and always having a +1 and somebody who matched my energy and my vibe. So when she left, it took a while for me to gather myself. Not even to mention like the financial aspect of it, but also the mental aspect of it. This was my best friend. I married her. We had about 5 miscarriages together. Then we had my son, who was a rainbow baby. So for her to be gone, it was like, damn, like, who am I now? Because obviously when you get married, you become one. So I lost myself. After the marriage, I lost myself and my identity. So it took me a while to recollect myself and to reevaluate my life. It took a while for me to start dating and trusting women again, honestly, because like this is my best friend, now she's gone. You won't think that people don't get married to get a divorce. So when she left, it took a while for me to trust another woman on that level or with my emotions. So now I am actively dating. I'm healed. I'm over it. So yeah, I think that is the best way I can possibly describe it without going into deep detail.
Yo, one of the best things about getting divorced is like now I get to do all the shit that I wanted to do that I couldn't do when I had a husband. And look, I'm not talking about goofy shit like other men, okay? I'm talking about shit like this. I got the biggest, fluffiest mattress topper I could possibly find. I couldn't have one when I was married because this man wanted a firmer bed. I'm about to be sleeping on a goddamn cloud. Y'all, let me tell you, if you are going through a divorce, you just went through a divorce, you're on the precipice of a divorce, it gets better. There is life after divorce.
Hey girls, so let's talk about 3 things that have helped me level up financially and help me level up to get remarried after divorce. So let's take off this makeup. So first things first, right? And y'all don't judge me, okay? I don't have any more makeup wipes, so I'm going to use baby wipes with micellar water. Here's the thing that I want you guys to understand. You are going to be able to change your life when you put yourself 100% first. Your goals, your ambitions. And that sounds bad when I say that, but let's really think about it. How can you expect to have a better financial situation, have a better relationship, have a better life if you do not make it 100% necessary for you to be the first part of that equation? So when I talk about how I leveled up financially, right? After my divorce, I was broke. I was living at home with my mom. I was on EBT. And then I started my business and now I run a 7-figure company. But a big part of that was me deciding to 100% go after my dream. We use a lot of energy to be afraid to start something, to take that next step. But I want you to shift that energy and instead look at, well, how scary is it to actually stay in the same place? How scary is it for me to look up and still be in the same place in 6 months or a year? So a huge part of that was creating a routine. Every day, even when I was at home at my mom's, right? Getting up before my kids, writing down what are 2 things that I can accomplish today to help me build my business. For me, that was creating a lot of social media content. Be super disciplined and loyal to yourself. Coming out of a relationship, right? If anyone has been in a relationship that is abusive or with a narcissist, we are so loyal to that relationship, to that man. We feel like we have to do everything to make it work. When it ends, and for you to level up, commit that same loyalty to yourself, that same loyalty to the next version of you that you want to have. Because when you apply that energy, you will start to see results. And when it comes to how I leveled up to getting into a relationship, I'm definitely going to have to do a part 2, but a big part of it is that same loyalty and dedication that you commit to yourself. When you are showing guys and the world that you are your number 1 priority and that you truly love yourself and are committed to yourself, they respect that. And that's how you find a good man. That's how you find a good woman.
What I need you to do is I need you to find a reason to keep going. And if you can find a reason to keep going, I know you're strong enough to do it because you're human. And every human has what it takes to get past whatever they're going through if they decide to push through it. Push through it. Tragedy and trials come to everybody. Only the strong survive.
Nobody can tell me